Hi guys, it's Tuesday and I wanted to share a little bit of my process with you. This is a process video for Crafty, Maven, Getaway using our stash called Stash It. And I guess it's interpreted differently for different girls, but if you've been following me, I have this empty box series where I'm trying to empty this box. So let's see if I can back this up a bit, and you can see that I took a bunch of my old kits. Oh, this is extra cheapy stuff. I took a bunch of my old kits and I threw it all in this box. And so I'm going to pull from this box. I'm also going to show you how I select papers, and I always start with the photo first, so I'm going to share that with you. And we'll just get started and show you how to use up some of your stash. So I'm going to move this box over to my right so I can pull from it. And normally what I do is I just pull a bunch of papers, which I've done here. Organize this just a bit. I also have some cheeky stash, so I'm going to put that in the box as well because, you know, I gotta love my cheeky. So here is what I do is I just have this cabinet really full of papers, and I recently went through a bunch of my papers and downsized to my current style. So I'll just grab a stack and I'll grab a photo that I want to scrap, and this is the photo. That is me and Bab along the countryside in California. So I always go off the photo first, so I'll grab a big stack of my stash and I will start going through the papers that I've grabbed. I don't grab a particular type or anything, and I start comparing it to the photograph. Now, straight up, this older Fabrications by Teresa Collins, I love this with that green in the background. I think it works very well. And I may fussy cut some, I don't know. This would work well, but it's not the idea I have in mind for this page, so it may be a little too busy. We'll put that to the side just in case. Now, this green, I think, would work very well for what I have in mind, actually. This is from the same line, Fabrications, Teresa Collins. What year was that? 2012. And I don't really care for that side, but I do like that side. And then this is another one of the Teresa Collins Fabrications. Ooh, I love this flower. That might work well for what I have in mind. So I may fussy cut some of these flowers. I don't know. That's not necessarily using your stash, but we'll see. We'll see if I do that. This is a good neutral side too, and it picks up the little wildflowers in the back that are yellow. So I may be able to use some of it for layering and some of it for fussy cutting. So we're going to keep those to the side and see if anything else strikes me. Now this would actually work as well. I think it's a little bit too contrasting. Oh no, it's not too contrasting actually. The blue is a little bit on the grayer side of the scale than I would like for this photo. It kind of downplays the photo a little bit. So this is an old opinion paper, and I try to keep the side I like. Yeah, none of this opinion paper seems to be working. And like I said, I've just got a bunch together because I was destashing. That is the same, almost the same. It's not a gray blue, but it is not the right color of blue. This is some more opinion. Now this picks up the pink in my shirt, and that might actually work as a layer, just something subtle. I really don't need more than that. Ooh, I like that pink even better. Even though this looks more countryside, this is a softer pink. This is a Pinion design called Pink Butterfly from 2011. I mean, I don't need a lot of layers, but I don't know. A little pink wouldn't hurt. So let's just go through some of these real quick and see if I like any of them. These are all Pinions. Let's see. This is Webster's Pages, Your Life Beautiful by Brandon O'Neill. And I mean, I like that, but it's not quite the color I want. Okay, and then we're getting into some stickers. I should probably put that with my stickers. That is not the color I'm looking for. So yeah, I think, looking through the rest of these, looks like some of them are Christmas. And then this is the new Whimsical, but it's not going to match those. The Whimsical is not going to go with these other papers at all. And I can just pull from my stash. So, oh, and there's that lovely Heidi swap that I recently got. So I think that will work. I think these papers will work for the layout. And then I'm just going to see about pulling from my stash. And my idea is kind of, I would like maybe this green to be like a frame, and then the inside be white, and have the photo. I don't know if this is the right photo. I may have to switch photos, or get closer, a closer view of us. I have to think about that one. Because I'd like to make this like a frame and have just a nice background of flowers and embellishments. So let's start. I know I've got some cheeky stuff from our kit club that we had. Let's see. I do like these flowers, and this is a yellow heart. I think I could use some of those. And maybe even some of this as a border underneath. I don't know. I like that. What else do we have in our little box of goodies? Just going to go through. I've got some sketches, but I kind of have an idea of what I have in mind, so I don't really need sketches. Let's see, this is another little bouquet of flowers. Oh, this is chipboard. Might be able to use that. Oop. So I just basically go through the box and see if anything strikes my fancy. That is a bright neon yellow that says "'Tis the Season." That's different. Let's see, what is this? This is a set of ephemera, head in the cloud. It's not really the style I'm going for on this, but it does have, there's a couple of tags in here. Let me pull the tags. And there's a piece of vellum that wants me. We may have to comply with that. You can always stick vellum in. Oh, and it's got some little travel themes. Let's see what all's in here. This is from an old Citrus Twist kit. Well, there's you and me, but it's so orange. I don't really want to go for too much orange, but it seems to kind of be, I'd like to stay on the pinker side, but it doesn't seem to be falling that way. Oh, that's pretty. And it's got that. I may have to switch papers. See, this is the dilemma. Even though this all matches the paper, now the style I'm starting to go with is not matching the papers. Or maybe I'll just use so little of the paper that you can't really tell that it's not the same style. Let's go create more stories to tell. If that wasn't black, it would be perfect. There's another. I like these. I like these a lot. And that's got more of the pink, but it also has that orange. I don't know, that's too Discover. Not really what I want. I may be able to take this little bouquet underneath. There's some more. I may not have to dig too deep. Story of my life. That's a little too teal. New adventure. Not the right blue. I don't want to get too heavy into blue. Take me anywhere. I may be able to fussy cut that. I don't really want the black out of it. Another heart. So, oh, this says scenic route. Okay, I'm not sure where my video died. This is kind of typical when I try to do like a live portion on my scrapbook videos, but what I was doing was I was pulling from this this old Citrus Twist ephemera, and I found some colors that matched really well with some of the Cheeky Studio kit stuff that was from an older kit. And then I had this chipboard, and I kind of like it. It's a little bit different, but I'm thinking I need some more dimensional elements for this layout. So I was gonna look. Ooh, I like those little hearts. I was gonna look through here and see if there was anything more dimensional that I could use. Things that matter. I kind of like that saying. I might. And then there's a little blue. Now what have I done with scissors? Okay. Should have got more organized, so let's see. Scissors. What did I like? There was something that caught my eye. Oh, this label we might be able to use because we're picking up some of that blue. But I want to find some things that are a little more dimensional. That is not the right style. Make pretty things. Aww. Now this says C. I like that. Might be able to use that. I'm just going to dig through this box, and I've done pretty well as far as like getting into the box. Like it is getting, it's half full. I've got 3 more months. I've given myself till March. That's just paper. I want something dimensional. Now there is a nice wood veneer that's dimensional. Let's see if there's anything else. There is, well, those are leaves, which is more of a fall theme. What is this? Oh, look, there is some more chipboard. I don't know if I need that much though. It's on the back side. Yeah, not really what I'm looking for. Maybe I can find one more piece of wood or cork. Here's a good read, Happy Campers. No, none of that's gonna work. So I think we're gonna work with what I found. I don't really see anything else that's just jumping out at me that's dimensional. I may have to add to my dimensional aspects. And there's some, well, that's got a little blue heart. Might be able to use some of this. These are puffy stickers that came in an old Citrus Twist kit. So let's start there. And I'm going to grab a piece of white, because that's going to be our foundation. So I'd like this to be the center, so I'm going to put you on fast forward. I may or may not shrink this picture down, but we shall see. Hold tight. Okay, so I did shrink down that picture, and I guess because I changed ink, I've got a little bit of difference in color and tonality, but that's okay. It still works out just fine, but it is more the size of the photo that I wanted, and the concept that I had in mind works better with this size. So I'm just taking that green paper from Teresa Collins, and I'm going to measure it out about 3 inches in on each side, and I'm going to cut a triangle out of the center. Now, this isn't anything new. I mean, when I first started scrapbooking, a lot of people did this, but it's been a long time since I've done it, and I thought that it would be different, even though it's an older style, I guess. But it was a good way to dig into my stash, and I do add a lot of stitching around this framework. So you're going to see how I do that here in a moment. I just go cut out the center, and then I'm going to place it on top of the white cardstock, and then I'm simply going to use one of my my hole punch pens, and I'm going to get some thread, and I'm going to go around the layout inside the frame and just on the border on the outside of the frame. So I'm just trimming off just a tiny bit here, and I'm going to poke those holes. And I was thinking maybe I want a little bit of yellow on the background. Like, instead of the white on the inside and the outside, I thought maybe I want yellow on the outside, but I decided against it because I'm going to use yellow thread instead. So I'm not going to bore you with watching me stitch that entire thing, but I will show you how I'm going to poke some holes just on the inside of it and on the inside of the outer frame. So I'm just lining that up. And I like how crisp and white that center is. Oh, I do, before I punch the holes, I do go ahead and layer up my photo. And the reason why I put the photo where it is on that 12 by 12 is because I didn't really want the writing. I thought that that looked a little bit more vintage than I wanted, and I just wanted that soft touch of pink. It was just a little crooked, so I fixed that. And I'm also going to add some yellow on the back side of that, and I'm also going to fussy cut out a ton of flowers from the front of that yellow paper. Just like I had said I might do, I do end up doing that as well. So I think I interview a couple of more backings here, and placement. Do I want it right in the center, or do I want it off center? And I do decide to just leave it in the dead center, and look at all of those beautiful flowers I get to fussy cut. So I don't cut them all, but I cut quite a few, and I'm just showing you the ones I cut there. And then I pull out my trusty Amy Tan sewing mat, and I'm just going to go to town punching the inside of this frame. So it did take me quite a while to go all the way around the inside and the outside, but I just watched, I guess I watched a little bit of YouTube. Oh, and I listened to some videos about health and science. So there's the stitching all the way around, and I did pink on the inside and yellow on the outside, and I really like how that finishes off that framework. It was going to be kind of boring if I didn't do that, and that was one of the concepts that I had in mind. Used to, when I would do something like this, you know, 15 years ago, you didn't really do anything very textured back then, so I thought that I would put a little twist on it and add a little bit of texture. And I know I do cover a little bit of it up, and that's okay because I love how it turns out, and I just kind of keep adding and adding until I get it just like I want. Now at first the vintage feel of these flowers were kind of throwing me off, and I kept playing with product and kept incorporating and adding, and finally, you know, I got it to where I really liked the layout. But there for a while I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I like some of this vintage look. So it's kind of mixing old with new, which is, you know, what we do with Stash, I guess. New look, I guess. It's not new product, but it's new look with vintage look. So that is a variegated thread that I used for quilting, and I love variegated thread. It's just amazing to me, especially when you quilt with it. The colors are lovely, and that one had the perfect colors just to tuck underneath some of these flowers and add a little bit of pink and green and yellow and orange. It's a very, very pretty thread. I love it. Love, love, love it. And I've struggled with thread on my layouts lately, but I like how this turned out. It's just a hint of thread. So I think I was putting too much before and it was overwhelming me. So if you just see a tiny bit, I'm much happier with that. So I'm gluing these pieces down because the thread is basically sticking to the adhesive and not allowing me to really stick it down. So I'm just going to add a few more leaves and a couple of little lone flowers. And then I'm going to start bringing in other elements to see what I can incorporate. And as you can tell, they're very different styles, and you think, what are you doing? How are you going to do this? But it works out, I promise. And, you know, at first I thought it wouldn't. But once I got started, it was quite effortlessly achieved. So I don't know. I like it. I like that it's a little bit of old style with new style. You can always mix things up, right? So I'm going to put a little bit of twine in this tag. And that's just a yellow and white variegated twine. So of course it matches perfectly. I'm going to tuck that in there. I'm also going to end up using those stamps in order to stamp on that tag. And I will also use another stamp there on the center at the bottom of the upper frame. And so I get to use a little bit of stamping. A little bit of the ephemera I'm adding in. And just adding some labels and some, I believe I add, yeah, a couple of little hearts. And just interviewing those different stickers and ephemera pieces to see what I think will look good. And I do like those little puffy leaves, and I'm going to tuck those in. Once I start embellishing, it usually goes pretty quickly. It's the start, I guess. So just keep pushing through. You can always take stuff off as long as you don't glue it down. I mean, if it's got a little adhesive and it pulls up your paper, you can always stick something right on top of it. There's only happy mistakes in art, right? So I'm going to pop up a couple of these elements to give it even more dimension and texture. And so I popped up that little fussy cut flower. And this keeps wanting to move on me because of the thread, so I am going to stick it down with glue. And that little piece, I couldn't find my tiny tweezers. And that little piece kept running from me, so I was like, why is it running from me? I need to get it. So I end up pulling this up just a little bit in order to tuck it in where I want it. I just wanted it peeking through and just to become a little bit of the dimension. So you could see something behind that label that says you and me. And at one point I had layered it enough that I thought I might be done, but it just seemed to be missing something. So it was the title. Of course, you know, I struggle with titles in journaling, and I just love making embellishment clusters. Sorry. And so I did go back. You're going to see me after I put all these little stickers and embellies on. I am going to go back at the very end and add a title from that Close to My Heart sticker set, which was in the Cheeky Studio September kit. And I think everything else was from my empty box series stash box, except for the papers, and I showed you that at first. So a couple of the Amy Tan enamel hearts, and those are nice because they're variegated a little bit. Well, they're ombre, not variegated. So there's a little hue of orange leading into a nice yellow, and that goes very well with the layout. I did kind of interview that wood veneer, but it was too big and I just didn't think that it fit in at the time, or there wasn't a place for it actually. It was just too big. So I'm going to grab those stamps, and those are from an old citrus twist kit that is in that empty box series, or in that empty box that I showed you in the beginning. And I'm going to stamp with archival black ink, Do This, and Boredom Crusher, which I thought was a cute saying. So just gonna see where to place it, and it's gonna go right at the bottom of that internal frame. Perfect. So here's where I'm going to add some sprinkles. I pulled out some of my Shimmers paints, and I used Glorious Day for a shimmery gold, and I also used a pop art pink, which is it has a gold shimmer to it, but it is a pink color. So I think that it went very well on this layout. Oh, I know. Before I did that, I did pull out these Nuvo drops, and those are the crystal opaque drops. And I haven't played with those yet, so I'm just going to add some little tiny dots in 3 different places. I wanted to see how it came out before I went to town, so it is subtle, but it's there, and I like how it dried down. And it didn't dry down like it was trying to make a tip on me, and I kind of just swirled my nozzle around like you would with a glue gun to get the glue string off, and that seemed to make it settle down into the center so it looks more like a dot as opposed to a peak of whipped cream. So I covered my photo, and I go to town sprinkling the Glorious Day and the pop art pink, and I make sure I get some on the white as well. If you've used shimmers before, you gotta shake them up, but you can't really shake them. You have to roll them in your hands because you don't want to get that glitter stuck in the nozzle. I have one like that, and it just drives me nuts, so I need to replace the nozzle on it. So at this point, I am thinking I may be done, but it just lacked something. And I went back to that Close to My Heart sticker set, and I decided I'm going to use that title because I had originally pulled that set because I thought that the colors matched well, and it does. It fits perfectly, nuzzled right in there at the bottom. And so that also leaves me with the dilemma of another cluster, because I feel like it's just kind of hanging there by itself, and it needs something else to help it have a foundation. So I grabbed some other little fussy cut flowers from a previous video that were cut from an old Maggie Holmes, and that was in my empty box as well. And I'm just going to glue those down, and that blue actually pulls in the blue from the label on the top that says Take an Adventure, and that little floral bouquet from the ephemera. And also the pink worked out well, so I liked adding that. I think it balances the blue in the layout. So, and then I fussy cut out another one of those yellow leaves that matches the other fussy cut flowers, and that completes the layout. So if you haven't had a chance to go over to Crafty Maven Getaway, I would encourage you to check out their Facebook group. It's a bunch of lovely ladies, and there's also a blog. I will be posting this on the blog, and I will have still pictures at the end. I would love for you to give me a thumbs up, and I hope somehow I've inspired you and given you some ideas about how you can make a layout that is using your stash and bringing in the old and, you know, different styles to incorporate on one layout and make it your own. It's fun. So, oh, it says Take Me Anywhere. I thought it said Take an Adventure, but oh well. Anyway, I will talk to you very, very soon. Ta-ta for now. Bye.